You drag me back here again.
Love it here.
Yeah, I do. I love it here. I love it here. But you got me to come back, girl.
I did. After your windshield, I got bust out and everything.
See, it was the windshield. At this point, we've been together for about 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've been friends for a little while, a few years before that, but we had only been dating for about 2 years.
Yep.
We had a new place.
Yes.
I had bought a new car.
Yes.
A new windshield. Windshield.
Yeah, well, back windshield. I think it's the windshield.
Rear windshield.
Rear windshield.
What else was going on? New job
for me. Mm-hmm.
Things were looking up.
They were.
We had got to a point in this stage of our relationship where we were doing things. We were doing a lot of date nights because we had no kids, right? So we were doing a lot of date nights. We were doing staycations. Mm-hmm. We were traveling to different states. We were enjoying each other.
We were living our 20-year-old something lives.
We were living our best lives, and I thought we were coasting very well. So something happened.
Unfortunately.
See, the thing about these episodes is it would lead one to believe that it was thing after thing after thing. It was thing after thing after thing. But there were like months to a year, sometimes 2 years in between a lot of this stuff.
Exactly.
Right?
It wasn't constant.
So we're trending well. One night, I remember being asleep. So we had our apartment. I'm laying in the bed asleep, and I remember rolling over and you not being there. And it was late. And I laid there for a few minutes, and I kind of tossed and turned, because in my mind I'm like, well, maybe she got up to go to the bathroom. Right. You know what I mean? Like, middle of the night, she got up to pee, type of thing. Waiting for you to come back, you didn't come back.
I did not come back.
You didn't come back.
No.
And I remember thinking, well, maybe she went to the other bathroom, because we had 2 different bathrooms. You had one, I had one. And I said, well, maybe she can't sleep. You know how you do your late night snack. So I said, well, maybe she's sitting in there, eating a snack, watching TV. So I came out the room, and I was like, hey, Chaun, what you doing on? What's going on? And what happened?
So let me pick it up here, since this was my infraction, okay? So we were in the bed, Candy was sleeping, and I was on my phone. Okay, I was on my phone, and I was texting, and Candy was asleep. And the conversation was carrying on, and I was like, I might want to take this into the other room. 1, because I don't want to wake Candy up, and let's just be honest. 2, I was having a conversation that I should not have been having as a woman in a committed relationship. So I was sitting and I was texting a young lady that I had kind of was talking to before. Was never in an official relationship with, but was talking to before. And we were having inappropriate conversation, talking about, if this then that, and if you were around, I would do this and this, that, and the third. Again, conversations. If this then that. Conversations that you should not be having if you are in a committed relationship, unless there is an understanding in the relationship that those sorts of things are okay, which in this case it was not.
If this then that.
If this then that. So Candy comes out the room. Wasn't I laying on the floor in the living room?
No, you were laying on the couch. You were laying on the couch.
So I was on the couch in the living room, and I'm just smoking the keys and talking and smoking the keys. And she comes out of the room. And she's like, what you doing? This is how you know you up to no good. Nothing. Just like a child. Nothing.
My God, today.
Nothing. What you doing? I ain't doing nothing. Then my phone dings. I'm like, you would respond right now. She's like, who you talking to? I'm like, oh, this is not going to go well. That's what I'm thinking in my head. I'm like, this is not getting ready to go well. So needless to say, I tell her who I was talking to. It's in the middle of the night. Okay.
It's not Ashley.
It's not Ashley.
It's not the ventriloquist. This is a whole nother.
This is a whole nother person.
This is a whole nother chick.
Yeah, it's a whole nother chick. And she like, who are you talking to? Now she gets stern. You can hear the bass in her voice. I was like, oh, this ain't going well. So I tell her who I'm talking to. She's like, what are you talking about at this time of night? And so I tried to gloss over. Oh, nothing. You know, she couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. So we was just talking. Let me see your phone.
Now, I'm typically not a let me see your phone person.
Mm-hmm.
I'm typically not a let me see your phone person. But my spirit was disturbed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My spirit was disturbed.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't sitting well.
Right. The answers were not sitting.
They didn't land well.
They didn't land well.
You understand what I'm saying? They didn't land well.
Mm-hmm. So I, like Candy says, begrudgingly handed over my phone, and she went to, you saw the little finger just scrolling. And then needless to say, I don't even think we went back to sleep that night.
We didn't. Girl, we still arguing.
We still
Girl, we still
in 2025, we still arguing.
We still, you know, because to me that was a turning point. That was a turning point. Everything else was water under the bridge. That was a turning point for me. And you were having these conversations, and it's different to know that your person is having conversations, but it's very different when you read the conversations. And I was like, oh, you want to do what? You've done that before.
And I was like, I was just talking. Like, I don't know why I was talking, but I was just talking.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, here we sit.
Here we sit.
Here we sit. So we argue. Let's assume this is like 2:00 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Chaun go round and round the mulberry bush till the sun came up. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
We got to go to work in the morning.
Yeah.
We're not college kids no more. At this point, we about 2 years into the relationship, so this is about 18 years ago, okay? From today. And we going back and forth. To the point where the next day, Chaun showers, get dressed, go to work. I shower, get dressed, go to work. We come back. I still ain't let it go.
She's still not done.
I'm still not done. You've been playing in my face. She been playing in my face. Okay? So now that I've had a conversation with you, now it's time for me to have a conversation with her. So I told Chaun, call the...
And I was like, hey, is that even necessary? Like, is that even necessary? Yes. I mean...
There's been an infraction upon me. I had the utmost respect over there. I require the utmost respect over here. Since it wasn't given and we can't play like we didn't know what this was, I have something to say. Call the...
So I find the contact and I hit that green phone and I dial the phone and I say, hello? Hey, because she's none the wiser. I'm like, Candy want to talk to you. What you want to talk to me for? And then didn't you like take the phone out of my hand or something like that?
And did. And I went for broke. I went for broke. And so after that whole situation played out, we were very rocky for a little while. And I just got to the point where I looked at Chaun and I said, you know what? Like, let's be clear. Okay? You're young, I'm young. You're in your 20s, I'm in my 20s. I'm even younger 20s. Okay? We got this apartment, but we don't have no property together. We don't have no children together. We didn't have no businesses together. Nothing was binding us together like that.
Right.
Besides this year or 2 year lease on this apartment. So I pulled back from the relationship. And with great reason.
Yep.
Okay? So during that time, I think in my mind, I was I call it a spiritual battle. I was going through a spiritual battle because I was trying to reconcile with how I felt about women, how I felt about this woman, and everything that I had been through. Mm-hmm. For those of you guys who have our books and you've read Moments of Redemption, mm-hmm. you know who Nicole was. Yep. I had went through all that before me and Chaun even connected or met. So I'm extremely young, and I have gone to hell and back with 2 women at this point. Mm-hmm. 2 different women. I'm over it. Okay? So in my mind, I'm sitting there having a conversation with myself, and I'm like, well, girl, this might be a drink option, mm-hmm. but baby, this might not be my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. So I'm having this conversation with myself in my early 20s, and I'm struggling. I was always raised in church, and I was like, well, girl, hell, maybe the people right. Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe this ain't what is in the cards. Maybe I'm going against the grain. I don't know, right? So I am having a spiritual battle. I get back in church. We start going to church. Chaun and I, at this point, are not even in a relationship anymore. Mm-hmm. I broke it off. That was like the first of hundreds of breakups. Right? Between
at this point, you can just call us roommates.
Exactly. Right. So we just going through the motions as it relates to the apartment, but I had completely pulled back because mm-hmm. my trust was broken. I had went into the relationship completely vulnerable, completely raw, completely transparent, and I had fallen. And so at that point, I was just like, okay, this is what it is. So some time go by, and I'm at work one day. Keep in mind, remember, this was before I started getting promoted at State Farm. So I'm at work one day. I'm at the corporate office, and one of my coworkers that I was real cool with said, hey girl, log off your phone. Let's go downstairs to the coffee shop, to the little coffee shop down where the cafeteria and all that was. She said, let's go down there and get, something to drink and get a little snack to get away from, the department. I said, okay, So we get we grab our badge, you grab your little, wristlet or whatever, you grab your little key, your little, whatever, and you go down there. We went down there, we catch the escalator, we go down there, we talking. So we're just talking. This guy walk up. This very handsome, very clean cut, very well spoken, educated, amazing man walk up, and he's talking to us. Now, I had never seen him before, but my coworker / friend, she knew him in passing, so they were cordial. And the culture of State Farm, I don't know what it is now, but the culture of State Farm back then was, for the most part, when we would see Black people, we would get excited and we would chit chat. You see what I'm saying? It was very much so like campus.
Like campus, yeah.
Right? You would see people and you, hey girl, how you doing?
What department are you working in?
Exactly. What department are you in? What do you do? That kind of thing. We're excited to see each other because it's few and far between. Okay? So her and I are standing there. We get our little snack. We talking. We kind of dilly-dallying because we ain't in no rush to get back to our desk. Okay? So he walk up and we're just striking up regular conversation. Hey, ladies, how you doing? What are you doing? Whatever. And I'm like, well, what do you do? What department are you in? He's very much so like, I'm an analyst. I'm in IT. I do this. I do that. Blah, blah, blah. I'm in this fraternity. I'm in the NAACP. And he's just running down credentials.
His resume.
Girl, he running down credentials. But I'm listening to his confidence. I'm listening to how eloquent his speech is. I'm looking at how clean cut he is and how well dressed and everything he is. And I was like, he cute. I didn't say this and I didn't tell my friend, but I'm looking at him like, okay. So he asked again, let me make sure I got your name right, you know, kind of thing. Let me make sure I got your department right, you know, kind of thing. I didn't think anything of it. We walk back upstairs. He walk his way. We go our way. Couple days go by. He pings me.
You gotta tell him what pings mean.
So ping in corporate America back then. Now it's been years since we worked in corporate America. But when somebody ping you, that's like an inbox. It's like if we on social media and somebody inbox you or whatever, and
like an instant message.
It's like an instant message, and it pop up for you, and it's a conversation between just you and them, right? So we're pinging back and forth, and we continue to do this for several days. Conversation very friendly, like, you know, how was your day? How are you? You know, what's going on? You know, what does your week look like? You know, kind of thing, right? So we start to discover different things about each other. I discover he's single. He don't have any children. He's a homeowner. He's been with the company for about 8 or 9 years at this point. You know, he graduated from the same college that we went to, which was about 20 minutes away. He's a twin. You know, all of these different things. I start to learn just random things about him. So he's like, I want to see you again. Now, I'm conflicted because the day he seen me, I just so happened to have had meetings on my calendar that day. So I look like fish that day. But this man don't know me and I don't know him. So what he don't know is, girl, part of the time I look like a lumberjack. You know, like I saw trees. And then part time, you know, I got a little fish to me. You see what I'm saying? Like back then I would, what the girls say, cold switch. Mm-hmm. I would switch. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. You would dress for your day.
I would dress for my day, girl. So when he seen me, I presented as one, but it wasn't for him. It just happened to have worked out like that. So when he asked me, like, could we link up? Can we do lunch? Can we, you know, I was like, girl, what? And in my mind, I'm thinking like, girl, this is nasty, girl. Me and Chaun ain't together. Let's be very clear, but we still live together. Like in my mind, I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Like, yeah, you kind of like him. He's cute. You giggle and you love when he ping you. But let's be very clear. Like, you've not dated a man in eons at this point since high school, right? So him and I are going back and forth, and then we start to text. Then it's like, okay, well, let's have conversations offline. Because all of your doings is monitored here. Like, what's your phone number? Let me send you my phone number, lock me in, send me your number. So then we start to text, right? So then it's the texting and the pinging. Or I pinged you 5 minutes ago, you must be away from your desk, you know, are you at work today, kind of thing, right? So we start to see each other. As we start to see each other, I get into this little routine where, girl, we would have like a date or something, or I would know that I would see him, and girl, I would go buy something to wear because I knew I was getting ready to see him. You remember that? Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like it was so crazy. Now, the girl, meaning me, but I was much smaller back then. Because after my big breakup with Nicole, I lost like 40-something pounds. And my outlet was the gym. So, girl, I was doing 2-hour workouts 5 days a week. Girl, I was... If there was ever a point in my life where my body was together, it was then. It was that season, girl. He got the good Candace, okay? So...
And I just sat back and just watched it all.
Well, so... we continued to, he pursued, and we dated for a while. I dated him for a while. I would go as far, and Chaun knows this, I would go as far as to say I loved him. I really did. He made me feel safe. He made me feel comfortable. He was extremely caring. I mean, he just, anything that on paper you would want your daughter to write out. I'm not just saying this because I don't even talk to him anymore. This man checked all boxes. So we're carrying on. I mean, we're getting serious. At this point, You know, we spending time together. We going on dates, all of the things, girl. One night, I'm over there. And I felt like it was leading there. I felt like it was leading there. And so in my mind, I was like, you know how you have self-talks. Mm-hmm. I'm like, girl, it's been years. I mean, years. And you've barely been with a man before, but it can't be that deep. And I'm like, he's just a little bit taller than you. Like, it ain't. It can't be, you know, whatever. So then things transpire. I said, oh.
No turning back now.
I said, oh my God, this is where your heart is at. Oh my God, what is happening here? So we carry on. We date and date and date. We go out. We spend time together. We could, you know,
we call it now. We call it date.
Well, no. Well, we dated. We did. We very much so dated. We dated, girl. We were together. Yeah. To the point where, like, I was so transparent with him. I told him about me dating women. I had got to the point where I told him, I was like, look, I be dressed in 2 different ways. And somebody in these streets is going to tell you or show you pictures. This was before Facebook got big. Like, because it wasn't like you could go check somebody's page back then. You see what I'm saying? Like, so I was just like, we know all the same people. Like, you know some of my sorors. Like, we got overlapping friends. Like, it's just a matter of time before somebody like
be like, let me tell you something.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So I'm scared to have this conversation with him, and I just lay it out. Girl, this man tells me, I'm extremely into you. I want to be with you. I see a future with you. I could see us getting married. I want you to move in. I want to give you a key to my house. Girl, he goes on to say, like, I want us to have children. I make a good salary down at the job. I'm 6 figures. You know, you can leave your little entry-level job over there in the call center. Don't worry about that. You can leave that and you can just stay at home and, you know, and all of the things. So I'm like, girl, what is happening here? So in my mind, I'm like, girl, this is what all of the girls have. Girl, this is what the girls stand in line for. This is what the girls play the heterosexual lottery for, girl. I'm like, this is what the straights come to the yard for, girl. Mm-hmm. So I said, my God, today. And he started making plans. So he would talk about like the holidays and, you know, I can't wait to take you home and I want to meet your family and all this other stuff. And I'm looking at him and I'm looking like, girl, my family would bow at your feet if I brought you home. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at this man like, on paper, you check all boxes. I'm like, you got the Mercedes in the garage, you got the truck, you got this beautiful house. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So one night we go out and he's getting ready to take me home and he's like, you've been really quiet. Is everything okay? And I'm like, everything's okay. I'm like, well, maybe it's not. We gotta have a conversation. And he was like, I knew something was wrong. Like, I'm in tune with you. I knew something was wrong. What's going on? And I just remember telling him, I'm not who you want me to be. I'm not her, right? I have parts of her. I can be her sometime for you, but ultimately that's not who I am. And the way we're going, I don't want to break your heart, and I don't want to be your greatest disappointment. Mm. And so I told him, I said, we've all been heartbroken. We've all gone through ups and downs in relationships. but I just see me being the villain in your story. And you're better than that. So although I love you, that even hurt. Although I love you, I gotta let you go because I can't be her. He didn't like that. He didn't like that. And the more time went on, things started to get a little messy. My supervisor at work started acting real strange. And her and I used to be kind of like this. For supervisor and, whatever relationship. Because she was younger. If I was in my 20s or whatever, she might have been in her 30s. And she seemingly like looked out for me and stuff. But I found like in this season, she was real like nitpicky. And I couldn't figure out why. Then, one day I'm talking to him. He mentions his ex-fiance, blank. I said, wait a minute, hold on. Flag on the play. We've been at this for a while now. We've been talking, pinging, dinging, stinging, and thinging. You've been texting, calling. You telling me you was engaged to a chick named blank? What are the odds in this itto-bitto town? What are the odds in this itto-bitto town that my supervisor name is blank and your ex-fiance work here too named blank? What department is she in? I don't talk to her no more. Let me look her up. Oh, she work over there in the... Nigga, that's my manager. You mean to tell me? Okay. Okay, Doc. I said, well, listen. You over in IT. You know. They got access to our pings.
Every single one.
Everything you say, she see. Everything I say, she see. So I said, I've noticed she's been nitpicky lately. So at this point, we're coming to the end of our road anyway. And he took the news pretty tough. To the point where I never forget there was one day, it was like 1:00 in the afternoon. It had to be like a Saturday. He called and said, I'm going to the movies at 2:30. He named whatever it was he was going to see. He was like, I could be there to get you in like an hour. Be ready. And I'm like, huh? Like I told you, whatever. He was like, no. And he repeated it like, don't tell me no, because if you tell me no, this last time we're done. Like that's it. And I remember him crying on the phone. And when I say that tore me up, it tore me up. It took me a long time to get past him. A long time to get past him. But I eventually did. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm just listening, girl, because I had a little seat to witness it.
You did. You did.
I mean, not all, but
enough.
Enough. So after going through that, how did it make you feel, and what was the resolve in your mind from all of that?
For a long time, I kept feeling like something was wrong with me. Because you have to remember, growing up, I had a lot of friends that were straight. In college, I had a lot of friends that were straight. I had some gay friends too, but I just kept feeling like somebody just literally offered me the world. I can't find, if I did a list of pros and cons, I couldn't find anything wrong with him. Even when I was difficult and I was spoiled, or if I was PMSing and I was moody or whatever, he just handled me with care. Like I literally would have to make something up to find something wrong with him. He would wake up and his breath wouldn't stink. Like I'm telling you, like this dude was like immaculate. Like I wouldn't, even to this day. The only thing that made me mad was how he handled me that last time. But other than that, I can't find a flaw. You know, I can't find a flaw. So I don't know. It was tough. Like it's hard to walk away from a situation when everything is seemingly going well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But although you had hurt me and I was angry with you and I didn't know, you know, where things lie with us. I mean, I know we weren't together and we were friends and all that kind of thing, but the feelings don't go away. You know, and how I feel about women don't go away. And I kept asking myself, like, girl, can you do this all the time? Like, can you, this is a lot. You know, this, even the sex, like, girl, the poking and the poking and the poking, like, can you, I'm serious. I had to ask myself this, like, girl, all the time? Like, girl, all the time. And I'm like, this is a lot. Like,
it's involved.
And I was like, you know, you're a very healthy young man. Like, you want, like, I'm like, I can't be doing this all the time. You know? So in my mind, I was just like, you have to do what's best for him. And I feel like far too often people know where their truth lies, but they're playing it safe and being selfish. And that was, to this day, one of the most difficult decisions that I had to make. Like, he went on to marry the next girl he dated, but they divorced. You know, and, you know, I know he moved. I think he lives kind of closer to us, like maybe probably within an hour distance. I don't know exactly where, but, you know, I mean, life kind of carried him in a different direction. But, you know, I don't know.
Wow.
I feel like the only way I could have been his wife is if I would have had a girlfriend, but I would have had like a long term, which would have been crazy. He wouldn't have, girl.
And that wouldn't have been fair to him.
No. You know, and then like in my mind, even when he said, you know, I want you to leave your career and I want you to stay at home and have my babies, and in my mind I'm like, well, who gonna cook? You know, who gonna cook? Now I would clean boots, but cook, I would clean, I would do laundry. And then in my mind, I also wrestle with, well, baby, just like you got your degree and you got your career, I might not be making the money and have the position that you have. That's only because I was younger than him. So I was like, let's be very clear, like,
your potential was there.
My potential is there too. So just like you can make 6 figures, I might not have been there at that moment. But baby, she got 6 figures in her too. Like, so in my mind, I'm like, what you want from me and what you want for us don't align even outside of that. So I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. But I feel like the lesson learned then, and it stands true now, is you have to treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
And I would have done him a disservice, and anybody else too, you know, that I may have cheated with or whatever the case may be. I would have done us all a disservice. Or if I had children with him, God forbid, you know, if we would have got married and had kids, like I would have just been doing everybody a disservice over something that I knew to begin with. And so before you can tell somebody else the truth, you got to first be able to tell it to yourself. And I had to look in the mirror, even at 20-something, and say, you're not the woman for him. He deserves an amazing woman, but he deserves a woman that's all in. He deserves a woman that can literally look at him and say, I will want you and you only. I couldn't do that.
Wow.
I couldn't do that.
That's commendable.
Girl,
that's commendable. Because a lot of people would not have done that. Some people would have probably just been like, well, you said, okay, let's go.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. But I feel like all of this began, well, I opened myself up for it because you and I were in a very bad place.
Mm-hmm.
So a question that a person may have is, if I was so much, as you say, of what you wanted, why did you open yourself up to have conversations with another person?
Because honestly, that's a part of me that I've always not necessarily struggled with. I'm very flirtatious. I like to play, so to speak. Because I'm the type of person where I will have conversations with no intentions of carrying it out. It's more so like entertainment for me.
So as I'm looking back on these stories, monogamy probably was not our thing.
I don't know. But like I said, I never acted on it.
Oh, I acted on mine.
I would have conversations, very inappropriate conversations, but I didn't act on it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it was fun. It was almost like the person who, let me see. Let me give a good example. A married a married person
mm-hmm.
who gets on, those 1-800 numbers back in the day?
Yeah.
Where you could call and you do all that or whatever, and this person might be in Bangladesh. But it's entertaining and it's stimulating.
Yeah.
And then they get off the phone and they go back to their life.
So it's the need to feel desired. Is that what it is?
For me, I think it's because I've struggled with self-esteem for a long time, ever since I was young. I've struggled with self-esteem. Mm-hmm. So to get that level of attention and to have a person want me, it was almost like a game in my head. I want to make you want me as bad as you possibly can, with the notion that I know you're not going to get me.
But see, I'm the opposite. Which is why I don't watch cooking shows. Girl, y'all be glued to the people that be cooking on the internet. I could not. Girl, I am a fat girl through and through. What you are not gonna do is tease me if you ain't gonna please me. You not gonna look at your neighbor and say, neighbor! Or neighbor, you're not gonna tease me if you ain't gonna please me. So I'm not, I don't play with fire. Mm-hmm. To me, watching cooking shows and I can't fix a plate, that's playing with fire. Talking to the girl and I can't see what's up, that's playing with fire. I'm not finna do it. Girl, if I'm on the keys and I say, ooh, I wish I could, and you say, ooh, I wish I could, girl, if we doing that kind of thing, we making arrangements. The next text gonna be, what you doing tomorrow at 6? What you doing,
But it's funny because then it also lends to how I could write short stories like I do.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But yeah. So it had nothing to do with you, and it wasn't like I was lacking anything or was wanting anything outside of our relationship. It was just, oh, you gonna give me some attention? Okay, let me see how far I can push you.
Yeah. But I think it's crazy because we're looking back. Mm-hmm. I'm 42, you're 45. Mm-hmm. We're looking back at decisions we made half of our life ago. Yep. But it's just evident that from the beginning we struggle with monogamy. It has been a constant from the beginning. Mm-hmm. So
and the lack of communication is huge, because had I just opened up and say, hey, this is something that I like to do, was this gonna bother you? Is this a problem? Like, I ain't gonna act on it, da da da. Like, this is why when you know something about yourself, when you can self-evaluate yourself and you know who you are, you know the type of person that you are, it'll lend you better in your relationships, whether it's romantic or otherwise. If you can just say, hey, this is the type of person that I am. Okay, is this an issue? What's the boundaries? What's this? What's that? And we never had that conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. So I don't know. What would you tell your 20-something-year-old self?
I would probably tell my 20-something-year-old self to be honest, mm-hmm. Open up your mouth, express to the person that you're with, what thoughts you're having, what you're dealing with, whatever. And then also have restraint.
Yeah.
Control yourself. Stop acting like you're a child with impulses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. There you have it.
And there you have it.
Candy's got a man. Shantae wasn't the only one. Candy's got one too.
Girl, and she had one.